Todd Rooker, Craig Nestor, Jason Walgrave, all live and ready to go. Talk to you this entire hour long. If you'd like to join us at 855-835-8500. That's 855-835-8500. Financial tactics for the 21st century, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, good morning. We know for sure we're live in Minnesota because we have used our air conditioners and our heater in the same week.
Excellent. That's for sure. That's absolutely
I was actually reading that there was a woman in the news that was arrested for calling a man 65,000 times. You hear this?
No.
No. Yeah, well, she's on work release now. She's actually part of the Obama fundraising committee. But it's actually true. And I was thinking, well, if anyone knows what it's like to have a woman call him 65,000 times, it's probably Jason.
Oh, see. Now
Here we go.
You can't get away from it, can you?
He's a pretty man.
In addition to being pretty, Jason is also a fantastic real estate agent specializing in investment property and short sales. Todd, unmatched mastery with unbiased information. And Craig, you specialize in foreclosure defense. And today, we've got a really interesting, this is an interesting confluence of people and specialties. We're going to talk about short sales and how this nicks all of your various specialties and what's going on. So news last week was pretty big. You called me yesterday with some alarming numbers.
Well, we have we all track our different numbers, and obviously in foreclosure, we look at those. We look at the time that people are in foreclosure, how many starts there are, how many actually occur. And what's unfortunate is that people believe that they are on the Titanic that hasn't hit the iceberg yet. I mean, they really think that, hey, could be some dicey water, so we better be careful. Here's the real. We have hit the iceberg, and the lower decks are filled with water. Mm-hmm. And regardless if you're on the top deck moving the chairs or not, there's some real stuff happening. I just want to cover a little bit. Banks have stepped up their actions against homeowners who have fallen behind on their mortgage payments. So we have a whole new wave of coming. The numbers are as this. The number of U.S. homes that received their initial foreclosure default in August is up over 35%. It's the highest spike in 4 years. So what happens in that is it's starting to signal that the banks are taking swifter action. They're not caught in a delay or worried about robo-signing or getting their forms all straight. Mm-hmm. That work's been done. Those delays have already gone by, and the banks are coming. And so when the banks are taking that type of action, here's the more startling news. This whole tragedy of the homeowner crisis is affecting 9 million families. Not people, but families. There's 9 million families that have lost their home to foreclosure. 7 million families went late for the first time in August.
Wow, that's big.
So there's a whole new wave coming. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, Jason, some of the numbers that we track, the S&P numbers, it was a triple whammy of bad news on the housing market. New home sales fell. New home construction starts fell. Then you have residential mortgages, delinquencies rose on top of the news that we just spoke of. So it's not going away. And now when we talk about shadow inventory, what it would take to plow through this type of inventory so houses could come back up again, states like New York have 11 years of foreclosure inventory. Florida, Nevada, California, 8-9 years of inventory. Mm-hmm. Even Minneapolis now has close to 5 years of foreclosure inventory that we're going to have to plow through to get our normal back.
To get the new normal back. So here's why this is relevant. If you're there and you're listening to us this morning here on Cover Your Assets, and you can go to coveryourassets21.com to meet the team, get to know us a little bit better. But if you're listening, you may be fine and sitting here thinking, why do I care about foreclosures? I'm making my payments. I'm current right now. But why should everyone be paying attention to these numbers, Todd and Jason?
Well, they should be paying attention because if they're making plans based on what they think their home is worth, they're probably deluded in that number. Mm-hmm. The reality is that you'll look around and see people who have their homes on the market and take something from that, which oftentimes you may not be able to do because those homes may have been on the market for over a year and no one's looking at them. When you consider that just 3 years ago, when appraisals and assessments of property valuations were done, what we would have called distressed sellers, which would be people in divorce and people who have major things going on, foreclosures and short sales and the like, were not considered a part or a component of a traditional straightforward real estate transaction. So when the appraisal was done, they would separate those out. Today, that represents more than 50% of the market, and consequently, your home, regardless of how you're selling it, will be compared directly to the person across the street who's in foreclosure, possibly selling for 60 cents on the dollar of what you think that house, your house, is actually worth. And even if you can get the individual buyer to purchase your home, write a purchase agreement, when they go to get financing for that home, unless that individual buyer of your home is a cash buyer, when they go to get an appraisal of your home done, the appraisal will come in low because it's being compared to those other homes in short sales and foreclosures. And consequently, they'll not be able to get the financing. So it really doesn't matter if you can talk someone into writing a purchase agreement for what you think the home is worth. They'll not get the financing, and they're not going to be able to buy it.
So that's number one. That's a big one, Todd. Making plans based on what you think your home is worth. Not a great idea right now, Jason. But from what Craig told you, we know that there's been 9 million foreclosures, 7 million just went late last month. From a real estate agent standpoint, what are you seeing here with this?
I'm seeing that the banks are being more aggressive with the foreclosure process. It was 2-3 years ago. You heard stories of homeowners staying in their home for 18, 24 months, even 3 years before the bank came knocking on the door and said, okay, it's time to go. You're not really hearing that anymore. I mean, they're accelerating the process. Exactly right. The banks have they have the staff in place. They have the systems in place to move through it quickly. And it's 60, 90, 120 days late. You're going to get that notice. They're going to move. They're not going to delay or postpone that sheriff's sale anymore, or they're not likely to, like they were in the past.
So basically now we don't have the honeymoon, so to speak, that we did a few years ago when the banks, quite frankly, weren't that good at it, right?
Well, not only that, but if they are expecting things to decline, and it's hard to say, maybe we've hit bottom, maybe we haven't, but if they're expecting a decline, it's in the bank's better interest to get it through foreclosure, get it on the market, get it sold now or in the next 9 months than it is to wait 12 or 18 or 24 months. So they're moving through the process quicker.
And Craig, you saw that really firsthand this week. You were talking about attending some sheriff sales. Give us a little preview on what you've noticed.
Well, in the last 3 years, I have gone to sheriff sales. So I work the different counties here locally. And you would see if there was 8 sales scheduled that day, maybe 4 or 5 of them would go. And you could actually call the law firm the night before, and they would tell you the sale was still happening, and you'd get there and it wouldn't happen. They just didn't seem to process the paperwork fast enough. In the last 2 months, we have seen 100%, where it's 8 out of 8, 10 out of 10. So they're not missing. I think the most alarming thing for me is the same people that are saying today, well, I'm fine. I'm at a 700 Beacon score, and I'm making my payments, and everything's fine for me. Those people that said that a year ago are my clients today. It all starts out with people that are in the 700 Beacon scores that worked very hard to get there, and then something happens. It was a loss of a job or a divorce or a sick child or a loan product that didn't work. People don't see it's coming, and they don't think that they're on the Titanic until they are.
Well, I think what's interesting is the definition of fine. And Todd talks about
that's loaded.
I'm fine. I'm making the payments. I've never missed.
I haven't missed a payment.
I haven't missed a payment. Yeah. But like Todd says, they've got a burn rate of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, and they're tapping into their 401k or their savings. That's not fine.
Right.
That makes a big difference.
That's the fallacy, is that if I've not missed a payment, I'm in good shape. The other fallacy, I think, is that people have the belief that they don't want your home. Obviously they don't want my home, so they want to work with me. Really? Well, that's, 95% of the loan modification requests are declined on. So if that were true, how come everybody's not getting loan modifications? And that's an absolute. When you look at the 30,000 jobs that apparently Bank of America is eliminating, what you're going to find out is these are the branch loan offices that they're eliminating. They had many of those people on W-2 incomes. They're getting rid of those. And the reality is because they're not doing loans, they're foreclosing. And the internal foreclosures, can you imagine laying off 30,000 people when you don't have enough staff to foreclose? They're not lowering the boom on that. They're eliminating the retail side because they're not doing loans. They're making money on foreclosures. That's what you need to know. They will foreclose on your home.
They will. And there is hope, though, here on Cover Your Assets. We're going to come back the rest of the hour. We're going to be talking about all angles of short sales. We're going to talk about it from the finance aspect, the foreclosure defense, and the real estate right here. 855-835-8500.
He took the midnight train. AM 1280, The Patriot. Paying taxes is one of the greatest certainties of life. Wouldn't it be nice to have a strategy that puts you and your business in the best possible position to preserve your income and assets? Make no mistake about it, finding the right strategic accounting partner is critical. Arlise Richardson Ltd. gives you the knowledge and expertise of a large corporate firm with the tailored service of a small personal firm. When it comes to discussing delicate financial matters and putting together a strategy and a plan that best meets your needs, the team at Arlise Richardson Ltd. is